This is Jeremiah. Welcome back. We have covenant here that I'm going to get to momentarily. We greet you in the only name given amongst men. The Lord is our shepherd. We have no want. He maketh us lie down. He makes us lie down. He maketh me lie down. He doesn't ask me. He makes me. He's Lord and I ain't. We emphasize it a lot in this ministry because we should. And a lot of insubordination going on. But let's let that go for now. We don't talk about that too much. We're going to get away from that. I'm going to get away from the apostasy pretty much for the rest of the year. I'm going to try to do that because we're surrounded right now, not right now. And although we are isolationists somewhat, we're still not isolated. Jeremiah is here and he is going to give one more video. And this will be 40 something here. I forgot what number. Let's go to title of this ministry, which is covenant. Now, and of course, I call this new covenant. There was an old covenant. We'll let that go for now. This is an agreement and an offer. It's an offer to love, and it's really, it's personally, I agree with the terms of the covenant. And the terms of the covenant are found in sound doctrine. The terms of agreement, and I personally, by myself, and that goes to 51. We're not going to go to 51. But in this ministry, I call 51, you've been graced individually. You're not a corporate citizen in heaven. You are an individual first. God doesn't talk to you as though you are not an individual. This is very significant. That's why I gave 51 in this ministry. Personal, you get this. Just like you get a white stone with your name on it. Nobody knows your name except you and the master. What is the master doing? And this is what I think he's doing. He's letting you know that you're an individual, that you're special by yourself. And that white stone is basically what's going on, pertaining to you understanding, boots on the ground, that you are doing things a lot on your own as an adult. You have individuality, and you can express yourself individually. Now, number one is I personally agree to eat the terms of living bread, but better than that, I personally agree to eat the terms of citizenship, or personally, I'm going to listen to the voice of love. I'm going to prioritize love big time. And we're talking real get down, and we're not talking about affection. We're talking about you're going to personally agree to encounter and develop and allow the development in you of becoming a real loving person. That's what number one is. That's what the covenant is. You personally are going to agree to these terms of prioritizing love above everything. Whereas before you became a Christian and you encountered the Bible and the church, you did not prioritize love. You prioritized that. You prioritized this. We just went through that in Matthew 10. You prioritize yourself. You prioritize this. You prioritized everything except for loving people in the church. I was counseling someone here not too long ago, and I told him, I said, it sounds to me like you left Father at the grocery store. That's a metaphor. You're living a life where Father's not even in the car. Where's Jesus Christ around here? You do what you want to do. You go where you want to go. Your pronouns reveal that the Lord is not your shepherd, because you're constantly using pronouns and words that reveal that you are in charge and that you're going to get the glory for what you do. So that means that you're not a Quaker at all. You're not really necessarily a Christian. You can be a baby Christian, but you're definitely not a mature Christian. We can take that to the bankola, as they say in America. You are not a mature Christian. We know that, because your verbiage is revealing that. Because Bible study is for you to become mature and get that word that the master of the Bible uses, oida, O-I-D-A, and that is you really know Jesus Christ fully and well. That comes from study and implementation of study. Putting on a servant mind and saying, thy will be done, and my accomplishments are his accomplishments that Paul mentions and so forth. So that becomes your verbiage, and now you're a new person, you're born again, all things become new, and now you have rooted and grounded yourself into being what you should be, which is a person who articulates what you need to articulate. Such as, it's not my will, such as, it's not my power, such as, it's not my glory, such as, I don't need to accomplish anything. The Lord accomplishes things in me. They're not my accomplishments. And I count all of my accomplishments as worthless. In the eyes of my pride and the eyes of me trying to use some sort of groundwork for me to bolster myself up and so on. We used to say back in the day, come down, clown. Because a person is a clown when they try to make themselves special. You just made yourself out to be a clown, because there is nobody special except for Jesus that can boast about anything at all. So we used to say, when people start getting proud, we say, come down, clown. What an excellent verbiage. Now, it's a little confrontational necessarily, but it may hurt the person's feelings, or so on and so on, but you're doing the right thing if you do it right and to the right person and so forth, right? You don't tell somebody who's not going to listen to you to humble themselves. Well, they're going to continue to be proud, and they might even attack you. That's Matthew 7. But you keep your heart open, your mind open to the Lord, where you can be used to tell people to come down off of your pedestal there, dude. We have no accomplishments in this church. None. The janitor is the same as the president or whatever. There are no statuses here. And you may think you could bring that into the church, but you're not going to bring it into a Protestant church. It's a real Protestant church. William Penn, one of the main things that he harped on, if my memory is correct, was William Penn, who basically founded this country, by the way. One of his big things was putting people down who were proud. When he met his wife, according to my records, when William Penn met his wife, he went to her house. He evangelized everyone in the kitchen, all the servants. He told them they were all equal to him. He had gentleman's clothes on, if my memory is correct, or something along those lines. He was born as a rich kid, so to speak. But he told everyone in the kitchen who was working for his future wife, because he wanted a glass of water, he was walking around evangelizing. So he went into the house, he told them to get saved. They got saved on the spot. Then his wife came in and said, what's going on in here? And she invited him into the table where all of her friends were eating. He basically called them all proud peacocks. They weren't happy about that. But his wife was interested in what he was talking about. He told her when he walked her out, from the dinner and from encountering the servants, he told her, I'm going to marry you. And he did. 'Cause, 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 Now, being a proud peacock is what you are making a personal agreement with God that you're not going to enter into these conversations and these ideas. You're going to chuck them. God resists the proud. So that becomes a big issue here. I personally agree that I'm going to eat living bread in denial. Let's go to number 2. I do agree with truth. Your mind is making an agreement in this covenant. They're making an agreement that you're going to agree with truth. Now, a lot of this has to do with the same thing with sound doctrine and so forth. But we're isolating this. We're going to repeat the same concept when we go to sound doctrine. However, there's nothing wrong with that. This is emphasizing the agreement aspect. That you can agree with God and you can walk with Him once you make an agreement and fulfill that agreement and concentrate with your mind on what He said to do, such as be humble all the time. Allow God to put you in the corner over there and humiliate you in front of everybody, which is the same thing the Master did for us. We're Christian. We're Christ-like. We copy Jesus. He was a scapegoat. We're a scapegoat. Now, number 1 is I personally agree to go ahead and eat the covenant demands. I'm going to submit and I'm going to become a citizen. Citizenship is based upon humiliation and submission. That's how you become a citizen. That's why the country is called submit. The country of Israel means I submitted to God successfully. Moses was called a servant of God. Why? Because that's the main issue for Adam's children, and Moses is one of Adam's children. Just like you and I are. So it's a country of people who have submitted to God. That's what Israel means. I just referenced Blessed Assurance, where one of the main lines in that song is perfect submission. Perfect submission, citizenship is mine. It's huge in the New Covenant for 2,000 years. In the Old Testament, you can get a little lost on being a servant somewhat, if you're not careful. But in the New Testament, the Master emphasizes servanthood 99% of the time almost. It's just, I want you to be a servant. Be a servant. Don't bother my servants. And over and over and over again. Kneel before me. Oh, here comes the Master. Kneel. Okay. It's all about submission, servitude, humiliation before God, and kneeling before God over and over again. Recognizing your position. That you are in submission, and what He says goes. Number 2 is I agree with the truth and reality. This is a reality agreement. It's a report on reality. When I give Bible to people or gospel tract, they go, what is that? I go, it's reality. And they go, no, it's not reality. I'm a professor. No, sir, it's reality whether you're a professor or you are a coal miner. It doesn't matter, sir. It's a reality report. Do you agree with the reality report? Now, we're going to go through this again, like I said before, in sound doctrine and so forth, because I want to hammer home the agreement aspect of this, but we're going to get away from the word agreement because that's basically what a covenant is. A covenant is for you to agree on the same ground. We're standing on the same ground, so that's why we hang out. We got on the same ship because we have the same goal. I want to go to Alaska. So we got on the same ship to go to Alaska. People on the same, with the same minds, they hang out together. And so Zion minds agree and walk together. Two cannot walk together unless they are in agreement. Okay? So I do agree with the truth. I do agree with reality. To go ahead and make covenant. To make that agreement. Okay? I'll make that agreement. I will fulfill that obligation. I will change so that I am more acceptable and more pleasing to the first party of the two parties in this agreement. It's an agreement between two parties. And the second party is me. And I need to fulfill the obligation to please the first party. Because it's not just an agreement or covenant, it's like a wedding. That's why Jesus Christ calls his church a bride. It's all relative to two entities getting together and agreeing and having peace with each other. And you can't have peace with God until you get your head together. You're not going to let anybody hang around heaven who hasn't gotten their act together. The Bible says there's no liars in heaven. So you're going to have to, ASAP, start getting your act together, studying, learning, and that's what God wants out of you. He wants you to be a kind, caring, intelligent person, ASAP. That's one of my jobs here as a Bible teacher. 3 years ago, we had quite a few more viewers than we do now, and it seems to be dwindling, but guess what? I have 400 videos, we had, well, let's not get into that right now, but the music's doing fairly well. We've only had a couple of hundred viewers for Bible study here, but that's 200 or 300 people. That's 200 or 300 30-minute segments. So we're getting a yield, and we're getting something good, which is even if it's only a few people. Okay. To give you an update, just what's number 3? Number 3 is the high ground of Zion is for me. I've thought about it, and I've decided I'm going to fulfill the royal command. I agree that high love is something that I want to achieve in terms of my high calling, which is for me to develop the character that's pleasing to God and to become active in the church duties of planting and watering sons and daughters of Adam. For a lot of benefits here. But so the high ground is what's called Zion. And you have a Zion mind when you agree to walk together with God, and you take your steering wheel and you want your steering wheel to go in the direction of loving people. There's always two steering wheels in a human being's automobile. In your life, there are two steering wheels. God has the ultimate steering wheel, obviously, but for you, you can drive yourself right off the cliff, so to speak. It's a horrible thing to say, but people actually do that. And we're here to learn to turn. When the Lord says turn right, we turn right. When he says turn left, we go, yes, Lord, turn left. That's what we're learning to do. So that our steering wheel is right in line with the will of his steering wheel. Okay? We're in unison. Okay, and of course, that number 3 is to fulfill the royal law. I'll get into royals later on. That's number 3 in this ministry. Fulfilling the royal law. The royal law is taking your affection game, your affection, we say in America, your affection life to a high level. You're just not all over the place with your affections to God and to human beings anymore. You're really developing a true, consistent, strong, devoted, intellectual compassion towards God and people around you. And that's a big transformation in you. You're his workmanship, and that's what he wants out of you. He's going to get it. If he doesn't get it, he will discard that human being. So number 3 in this ministry for covenant is, I want to seek the high ground, and I want to live on that high ground. In order to do that, I'm going to have to apply myself and my energies and the Lord's energies towards being a high loving person. The way I love myself. I'm going to love that guy over there, that sister over there. Number 4 is to agree with the terms of unification by grace. You've been given an offer to stand on the same ground as God based upon something that you have not done and you cannot achieve. The Master Jesus Christ, he's the one who achieved the opportunity for you to become a covenant maker and a covenant keeper. Someone who's going to make an agreement to be a better person in general, and to be like Christ, and to become a very loving person, and to become a more intelligent person. You are going to agree to that so that you can be unified. If you don't agree to sound doctrine and that you are going to become an overcomer and you're going to fulfill taking up your cross daily, which is enough and sufficient, an overcomer and well done and faithful, servant, wise, all those terms apply to you being successful in your encounter with the opportunity to serve. And that opportunity to serve that's going to give you unification. And all that unification between you and God, reconciliation, is by grace, not by what you did. What you did was required of you, but that's not what saved you. It's required that you love God with all of your heart, soul, mind, and strength, but that's not necessarily what saves you. What saves you is a grace opportunity to love God. You can't love God unless He gives you an opportunity to love Him. See, that's the point. Number 4. Number 5 is a 2,000-year offer to the Addams family. It's a 2,000-year offer to the Addams family, and we're all the Addams family, and that is to return to reality. And that is to return to reality and for you to put confidence in reality. You get a chance now that you can put confidence in the orders and own the fear of the Lord, which is the beginning of wisdom. So you are now going to do what you've been ordered to do, and you're going to put confidence in those orders. This is a 2,000-year offer for you to put confidence in reality again. Can you put confidence in reality? You're going to have to do that. Because when you come to Jesus Christ, your confidence is not in reality in general. You believe in lies and confusion when you come to Jesus Christ, most people. Because He's the owner of truth and reality, and you didn't know that. You were out there in outer space, so to speak. There's no such thing as outer space, by the way, but you were out there, in lost and confused. So now the offer comes to you, you Addams family citizen, and why don't you try it again, Jeremiah, since you're Adam, why don't you try again to hear commandments and do what you're told, and have the fear of the Lord. Can you put on the fear of the Lord? Can you put on the respect of God and that He's commander and you ain't? I meet people all the time that tell me they can't do that. Can't do that. No can do, Jeremiah. I can't place confidence in the truth. I can't place confidence that is needed for me to know God and to live with God forever and to please the Son of the living God. I can't put confidence in that. I'm going to do the same thing my grandparents did, and I'm going to ignore commands. And once again, we have another loser on our hands, because Adam and Eve were losers. Why? Because they didn't listen to the commandments of the Lord, and they did not have the fear and the respect of Him as what He says goes. End of story. They lost confidence in the respect of God. You can't do that. And that's why we warn each other, as Paul said, admonishing every man, we warn each other, hey, you know what? Stay on task. Stay on the narrow brick road. If you get off of it, or get off the road, I'm here to help you, and the church is here to help you to get back on the road where you're basically sinless, which is what that basically means. Narrow is the way that leads to life. Wide is the way that leads to destruction. Many there are that go that way. Most people are going to go down the road of destruction. That's why I don't get very many hits on my videos online. Most people are going down the path of destruction because it's easier to go that way in general, and you can kind of do your own thing, right? Yeah, man. But the road to salvation is a road that the Lord is paving, and it only has a few things that you can do. He's restricting you quite a bit. Jesus is a boa constrictor, and the point is that boa constrictor is going to lead you to life. Okay? Number 6 is an opportunity and an offer to be wise in this agreement. This agreement is offering you an opportunity to be wise and have affinity with everlasting Father, a merciful Judge, Jesus Christ. So, Adam, why don't you take advantage of this offer and be wise? Now, the unwise, there's no soap. And the unwise will not go to Jordan. They won't go to the River Jordan. Jordan is the only place where God meets people in your Bible, and it's very significant. Because Jordan means to descend. When God deals with me, He's descending. Because I've sinned before. He's never sinned. So He's descending to a sinner. He's on high, we're on low. That's what John the Baptist gives us a discourse on. So He is doing what? He's lowering Himself, and it's an opportunity and an offer to be wise, to agree with reality, to agree with submission, and to agree with He's God, and you ain't, and you're fallen, and you need to confess and have remorse for your sins and so forth, and have compunction, and not realize that you've hurt people or something along these lines. You've been rude or worse, and you're going to admit it, kind of, and that's what's going to get you your salvation, because that's where God meets you when you start confessing the truth pertaining to you. That's the specific entity, and that goes back to number 1 in this ledger here, which is personally you're going to identify you as a sinner and as someone who needs help. You need to have those sins removed. If you die and you still own them, it's not going to be good for you. And that's called wisdom, to take that remission and removal, okay? The washing. Okay, 7, agreement in the gospel is a goal to be reunited, and it is a purity agreement, or there's no union. There's no beauty for ashes. There's no beauty for you without you putting on the gospel goal, which is for you to develop into a person who is pure in heart. That's the key. It's required of you. For you to go into the cloud of beauty up here, for you to put on beauty and beautiful character. And you do that by the power of God and the guidance of God. Your responsibility is only to do what? Yield, which I'm going to get into later on, okay? That's basically your only responsibility. That's like saying, Jeremiah, go kneel down over there. That's not necessarily something you can be proud of. No, I went to yield before Jesus Christ and kneel before Jesus Christ. You can't boast about that as a work. Because all you're doing is just yielding. It's not necessarily your energy, and it's not necessarily your guidance, is it? Because God gave you the human body so you could yield. So once again, He always gets the glory. Okay, I'm going to stop right here. I thought we'd go further, but we left off on, we went all the way to 7, where we talk about beauty again and purity. That there is no beauty without purity, period. There is no light without purity. The rainbow you see out there, it's a reflection of God's purity. God is like a crystal that light can go through. And what you're looking at is you're looking at the heart of God when you see a rainbow. Because only colors come from pure white light. You got that? So you're looking at the insides of God, the actual person, the actual being of God, when you see color. I keep telling you that. Some of you aren't picking up on this, but purity creates color and light. That's why the Master said, I'm going to cast some people who don't want to listen to all this Bible study and please God and listen to the Father. He's going to put them in outer darkness. There's no light, there's no color. Because everything generally comes back to beauty and purity. Number 7 is, I agree to the gospel goal of being reunited with God and being in beauty based upon me putting on a righteous life. That's the point. Number 7 is to agree to be righteous, and that's going to get me fellowship with God. Matthew chapter 5. Blessed are those who hunger and thirst after righteousness. We want to do the right thing badly. All the time. That's what Paul said in Romans. My mind tells me to do the right thing, but sometimes my body and the circumstances have me wanting to do something else that's contrary to what my mind is telling me to do, which is the right thing. Right? But we get devoted to doing the right thing. We just keep going, right? And blessed are you. That means you're going to heaven. Okay? That's what the word blessed means in that context. It doesn't mean happy per se. It does mean happy, but the main text is, you shall. That means posthume. You're going to be in good shoes by really concentrating on, I want to do the right thing. And I base it upon my Bible study here. Okay? Jeremiah's done. We have a wonderful time here. I really enjoyed it. And I'm going to try to clarify these a little bit more maybe before I go through them once again. Okay? Making covenant is big. Remember, we're going to spend the whole month making a foundation for these 7. We're almost done with number 1. I'm also going to try and tie them into the other as we did earlier, okay? Jeremiah's going to shut down. Maranatha, when the Lord comes, we'll all be smiling in a cloud. And you get to see the one who loves you, and you get to hang around love for eternity, okay? And think about that. Comfort one another, Paul says, with these words. It comforts you to think about this. This ain't it. I'm going to have dinner in a minute. I'll probably enjoy it. Point is that that's not it. Man shall not live by bread alone. We live by love here. We even forget about food here. Right? Yeah, we do. Because we're so enamored with love that we forgot about food. We're so excited. But I'll eat tonight. Shalom, Maranatha. I'm going to shut down. The Lord is coming, Maranatha. We'll let you go. We had a wonderful time. I'll review these later. I wanted to say a few more words. That's it. I limit myself to 30 minutes. Okay, that's it. 30.